Have you ever thought to yourself, I wish I hadn't told them that? Especially when telling your family something. As we get older, we think that being more open will make us feel more at ease. But sometimes, it's the opposite. What if I told you that not everything needs to be shared, and that keeping some things just for yourself can actually bring both peace and healthier relationships? Today, we will talk about 4 important topics that you definitely do not need to share with your loved ones after the age of 65. This is not about hurting anyone, but rather about protecting both yourself and them. Especially when you hear the last point, you will agree with me. Now let's get started. 1. Non-emergency health issues. As we age, it's normal to encounter more health problems, but feeling the need to call our family immediately about every little ache, pain, or discomfort is just as natural. After all, they love us and want to be aware of everything. But there is an important difference here. Talking about serious health issues and constantly bringing up every little problem. The two are very different things. Constantly talking about every little discomfort can sometimes lead to unnecessary anxiety. Your family can, without realizing it, blow everything out of proportion and start making decisions on your behalf. Maybe it has happened to you. You mentioned joint pain or a bit of extra fatigue, but suddenly it was perceived as a big issue, and everyone started deciding what to do. Of course, if there is a serious health issue, it is very important to tell your family about it. However, if it concerns temporary ailments or minor issues that your doctor is monitoring, you don't need to share them every time, because this can cause both you and your family to worry unnecessarily. And suddenly, you might find yourself facing all kinds of health-related suggestions, scheduling a doctor's appointment, or hearing phrases like, "Take better care of yourself." Your family, especially the younger ones, always act with good intentions, but sometimes they can unknowingly put pressure on you. After a while, even due to a simple health condition, they can create the feeling of, "Am I not taking care of myself?" This can make you question your independence. When you mention a single pain or a minor discomfort, you might suddenly find yourself in the middle of a debate. Should you change your diet, take a supplement, or go to the doctor? These might be the kind of pressures you definitely don't want, because maybe all you wanted was to share something about your knees that were hurting a bit that day. But unfortunately, constantly talking about health issues can make you appear more fragile in the eyes of your family. This, in the long run, can change their perspective of you. Of course, sharing important health issues is very important. But sometimes, keeping small and temporary discomforts to ourselves does not mean being dishonest. This simply means maintaining your own independence. You have the right to manage your health without unnecessary interventions and stress. Sometimes staying silent is the best health management. 2. Financial decisions and assets. As you get older, money-related issues become more sensitive. Explaining your financial situation to your family in detail may seem like it would prevent misunderstandings. But most of the time, this situation can actually create more problems. Sharing your savings, investments, or money set aside for your future with your family can lead to unwanted advice, pressure, and sometimes even family conflicts, especially if each generation has different perspectives on money. Some family members can be genuinely well-meaning, but over time, this goodwill can turn into an intervention. In fact, people who were previously not very interested may suddenly become overly concerned when they learn about your financial situation. Maybe you've witnessed it. When a friend explains their financial plans to their children, every decision is questioned. He is told to downsize his house, make different investments, or leave more to his grandchildren. Getting advice is one thing, but when people start meddling in your personal decisions, things can quickly become frustrating. Moreover, when you completely disclose your financial situation, it is not possible to take that information back. Another important issue is your personal control. If your family starts to think that you are not making good financial decisions, they may feel entitled to intervene. Generally, even if it is well-intentioned, comments made without respecting your independence can disturb you. You might hear sentences like, "Do you really need to spend that much?" Or, "Wouldn't it make more sense to give some of it now?" Even if no one directly pressures you, knowing that others are watching your every move can be annoying. This doesn't mean you should never talk about financial matters, of course. Making a solid inheritance plan and sharing the necessary information when the time comes would be a wise step. But you don't have to share every detail. How much money you have, how much you spend on yourself, or whether you are making a new investment is entirely up to you. If keeping some financial matters private makes your life more peaceful and helps you avoid unnecessary comments, it's not a secret. It's actually wisdom. If you are still watching this video and find this information useful, please write 2 below so that I know you are here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend subscribing and turning on the notification bell. Your support helps us create content that informs and inspires you. Now, let's continue. 3. Your true thoughts on family conflicts. Family dynamics can be complex. As we all know, people change over time, and this change can sometimes, even if unintentionally, find us in difficult situations. Siblings arguing over inheritance, family members unable to erase old wounds, or extended family members who can't get along with each other. These kinds of problems occur in almost every family. When you live long enough, you see that these kinds of problems keep recurring. Old wounds reopen, and it feels as if history itself is being rewritten. And sometimes you find yourself just watching in these complex relationships. Many people intervene in family conflicts or try to achieve fairness by taking sides. Imagine, in a situation where everything is chaotic, it might be tempting to think, "We can solve all of this by talking," or "We should stand by the one who is right." But generally, such interventions do nothing but fan the flames. Maybe you have experienced something similar before. If you have had such an experience, you can share it in the comments, making others who watch this video more experienced as well. Now let's continue. You found yourself in the middle of a debate, feeling like a mediator, but in the end, you lost one side and also created a rift with the other side. Or you gave advice with the best intentions, and then realized that people misunderstood your words. The truth is, family conflicts do not change with your intervention or lack of intervention. Sometimes, the more you interfere, the deeper it gets. But the bitter truth is that even if people eventually leave these problems behind, the discussions and what was said remain in their memories. Taking sides or expressing a strong opinion can create resentments against you, even if the issues have been resolved. And that resentment can sometimes last for many years. An even more sensitive topic, especially when it comes to younger family members, is expressing what you really think about them. Saying what you think about your son-in-law or the way your grandchildren are being raised may seem like honesty. However, remember that such words can sometimes resonate in people's hearts for a long time. People often do not easily forget when they feel criticized or judged, even if you have very good intentions. Sentences like, "I think you should do it this way," or "You need to be much more careful about this," may sometimes seem like helpful advice to you, but they can create a sense of great pressure on the other person and lead to an emotional distance. Therefore, one of the wisest things you can do after the age of 65 is to sometimes use the power of silence. You don't have to agree with everything or take sides in every problem. Carrying the responsibility of commenting on every situation within the family can wear you and others out. Sometimes, the best response can be a simple yet profound sentence like, "I hope everything works out," or "I believe you can handle this in the best way." This keeps your bond with your family strong and prevents unnecessary drama. In this way, while maintaining your commitment to your family, you also preserve your inner peace. Additionally, you should not forget that some family conflicts require time to resolve. Sometimes, when people are in a very emotional state, you may not be able to reach a solution immediately after everything they say. Therefore, sometimes the best approach might be to take a step back and allow people to express themselves and mature their thoughts. Over time, harsh words spoken in the heat of the moment can give way to a healthier understanding. Of course, while we want to stay within the family and ensure that everyone is harmonious with each other, the truth is that some things can only be resolved with time and maturity. No matter how well-intentioned your intervention may be, sometimes the best thing you can do is just listen and not get involved quietly. Without your intervention, sometimes people can make the right decision and thus find a healthier solution. 4. Your regrets about the past. As time goes by, looking back at the past is something we all do. When you take a step back, sometimes you think about what you didn't do or the choices you didn't make. You might say, "I wish I had chosen a different path." Maybe if you had taken a different path in your career, or if you had acted differently in your relationship. Everyone has such thoughts, but sharing these regrets, especially with your family, may not always be the right thing to do. Most of the time, sharing the mistakes we made in the past or the opportunities we missed with others may seem like an internal evaluation on our part, but it can create different perceptions for family members. For example, when you think you spent more time in your work life, you might send a message to a child that says, "I couldn't be a good enough parent." Or when you regret something about the life you've lived, saying, "I wish we had moved somewhere else," you might give your family the feeling, "I didn't spend enough time with you." However, this might just be the way you think about an old decision. Similarly, regrets about past relationships or old friendships can also be misunderstood in a similar way. Sometimes, when you remember an old relationship or a lost opportunity, you might cause your spouse or children to feel worthless. When you think, "I wish I had done things differently," the people around you might notice how much the past still affects you. This situation can sometimes give people the impression that you are stuck in the past, which can lead to more loneliness or negative feelings for you. Sharing these things may, of course, be about wanting to be sincere and honest, but sometimes it just creates unnecessary burdens. Telling your family, "I wish I hadn't done that," can lead them to feel guilty or inadequate in some way, without realizing that we don't have the power to change the past. Regrets are in the past, and we have no chance of changing them. Therefore, sometimes keeping certain regrets to yourself not only protects you, but also saves your loved ones from unnecessary burdens. While doing this, it is important to acknowledge that everything in your life has taught you a lesson. Every mistake, every lost opportunity has made you the person you are today. Maybe you couldn't solve these in the past in some way, but today you are a stronger person with what you have learned from those mistakes. By constantly bringing up past mistakes, you only continue to carry the weight of the past, whereas the value of today is much greater. If you are still watching this video and found these thoughts helpful, please write 4 below, so I can understand that you are here. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. This way, I can continue to support you with informative and inspiring content. Now, let's continue. As we wrap up the video, let's revisit the 4 important points we discussed together. Keeping some things to yourself is not a way to be mysterious or distant. It is actually an effort to protect your peace, honor, and most valuable relationships. You don't have to share everything openly, because sometimes the best choice is knowing what you shouldn't share. Think about your own life for a moment. When you told your family something, did you notice the change in their eyes afterward? Maybe saying nothing was the right move to prevent misunderstandings. Or maybe not sharing everything made your relationship stronger. Our experiences teach us over time what is truly important. As we grow older, sometimes we realize that the right move is to keep some things to ourselves. Getting older is actually understanding life more deeply. The more experiences you have, the clearer you begin to see which moments in life are important and what is truly valuable. This is the journey of preserving your peace. staying away from the influences of others and unnecessary worries, but also maintaining your relationship without hurting them. Because choosing what to share not only allows you to maintain control over your life, but also strengthens your bonds with your family. It's not about excluding people, it's about keeping your relationships meaningful. Truly meaningful relationships deepen and grow stronger over time. This is not about telling everything, but about sharing the right time and the right information. Sometimes staying silent, and sometimes not saying one word too many, can help those relationships continue more healthily. Now, we really care about you. We would like to know what you think about this. When you share something, have you noticed later how that sharing affected your relationship? Or sometimes, how did keeping something to yourself make you feel more at peace? Think about it for a moment and leave a comment below. What is valuable to us is your experiences. Reading your comments will be a great source of inspiration for us.